7 minimalist rules that changed your life and save money. A woman spent $4,200 last year on products promising to change her life. New skincare that would transform her face, organizational systems that would fix her clutter, wardrobe pieces that would revolutionize her style. She's still stressed, still surrounded by mess, still broke. Another woman stopped asking, "What can I buy to fix this?" and started asking, "Why do I think buying will fix this?" She spent $800 total last year and finally found peace. What's the difference between transformation chasing and actual transformation? For years, minimalism and simple living changed everything for me. Not just what I own, but how I think, what I value, and how I feel daily. These 7 minimalist truths help me stop overthinking my stuff, feel at peace in my home, spend thousands less, and experience genuine joy instead of chasing it through purchases. These aren't strict rules. They're gentle guidelines that have stayed with me for years because they actually work. If you're exhausted from the constant shopping cycle, comment 7 truths and subscribe. Truth number 6 will shatter every advertisement you've ever believed. Grab something cozy to drink if you want. Let's talk about the linen pants illusion that keeps us all trapped. Truth 1. The linen pants illusion law. There's an ancient story about an artist who believed the perfect paintbrush would transform his work. He saved for months and bought an expensive brush made from rare horsehair, convinced his paintings would finally become masterpieces. He painted with it eagerly, but the results looked exactly like before: mediocre landscapes and awkward portraits. Disappointed, he decided the problem was the wrong type of brush. He bought another, then another, spending years and a small fortune collecting brushes. But a master painter visited his studio, picked up the cheapest brush, and created a stunning work in minutes. The artist finally understood: skill creates art, not tools. A master with a cheap brush outperforms an amateur with expensive ones every time. This is the linen pants illusion that keeps us trapped in endless consumption. You see white linen pants and think, "These will revolutionize my wardrobe." But here's the reality. If you already own enough pants, adding linen ones changes nothing in a lasting way. You can only wear one pair at a time. The new pants just mean wearing your existing pants less often. The illusion is that new purchases create transformation when they only create redistribution of use. This pattern repeats everywhere. New skincare promising to change your face, new organizer claiming to fix your clutter, new productivity app guaranteeing to transform your output. We buy these things with genuine hope and excitement, that initial dopamine rush of something new and shiny. But after a few weeks, they become just another item we own. The skincare sits with 15 other bottles. The organizer holds clutter you should have discarded. The app joins 40 others you never open. Here's the reality nobody wants to hear. External stuff can't fix internal struggles. Before any purchase, ask yourself one brutally honest question. Will this actually change something in a lasting, valuable way? Or will this just give me another option? If the answer is another option, you already have enough. The change you're seeking won't come from adding. It comes from shifting habits, mindset, and daily routines. A woman bought an $800 standing desk, convinced it would revolutionize her productivity. Used it intensely for 2 weeks, then productivity returned to normal. The problem wasn't her desk, it was her focus habits and phone addiction. The desk couldn't fix what only discipline could change. New things create dopamine hits, not transformation. Stop chasing purchases, start changing the habits that actually matter. Truth 2. The fewer choices, freedom principle. An ancient king owned 1,000 magnificent outfits, silks from the east, furs from the north, robes embroidered with gold thread. Every morning he spent 2 hours agonizing over which outfit to wear, exhausted by endless options, yet never satisfied with his choice. His wise advisor owned only 7 simple outfits, one for each day of the week. He dressed in 30 seconds each morning and spent his energy on matters that actually mattered. The king watched his advisor move through life with enviable peace, and realized something shocking. He envied a man with 993 fewer outfits. This is the paradox nobody warns you about. More choices don't create more satisfaction. They create decision fatigue, the mental exhaustion from choosing between too many similar things. You stand in front of a closet overflowing with clothes, but feel like you have nothing to wear. You scroll through Netflix for 45 minutes, unable to choose a movie. You stare at your bookshelf, paralyzed by which book to read next. Fumio Sasaki calls this the silent to-do list. Every item you own quietly demands attention. Remember, you were going to use me for that hobby? Don't forget you spent money on me. You need to clean me soon. The more items surrounding you, the louder this mental noise becomes. It's like having dozens of browser tabs open in your mind simultaneously, each one draining energy you could spend on things that actually matter. Here's the reality nobody wants to hear. More options feel like freedom, but actually create prison. When I reduced my wardrobe, book collection, and kitchen tools, every category by about 50%, something unexpected happened. Getting dressed took 30 seconds instead of 10 minutes. Cooking became joyful instead of overwhelming. Reading became peaceful instead of stressful. I wasn't choosing between 100 mediocre options anymore. I was choosing between 10 favorites I genuinely loved. A man owned 40 t-shirts but wore the same 5 on rotation. The other 35 just created visual clutter and decision stress. He finally donated 30, kept his 10 absolute favorites. Getting dressed transformed from 10-minute morning anxiety to 30-second ease. Same 5 favorites available, but now without 35 creating noise. Fewer decisions means more energy for what matters, because decision fatigue is real and every choice you make depletes the limited mental energy you have for the day. Truth 3. The practical over pretty law. A warrior preparing for battle saw 2 swords, one ornately decorated with jewels and gold inlay, a stunning piece of craftsmanship that drew gasps from everyone who saw it. The other was plain, perfectly balanced, with a sharp edge and comfortable grip. He chose the beautiful sword because it made him feel impressive and powerful. When battle came, the ornate sword was too heavy, poorly balanced, and the decorations caught on his armor. He died in that battle. The soldier with the plain, practical sword survived every fight because function always defeats beauty when your life depends on it. I love beautiful things, design, aesthetics, pretty packaging, all of it. But minimalism taught me something crucial. When forced to choose between pretty and practical, practical wins every single time. Best case scenario? Find something both functional and beautiful. When that happens, it's worth buying. But if I can only have one quality, I would choose practical without hesitation. If you buy something gorgeous that doesn't match your actual personality, lifestyle, or needs, if it's uncomfortable or impractical, you simply won't use it. And unused items bring 0 long-term value, regardless of how beautiful they look sitting there gathering dust. Here's the reality nobody wants to hear. Pretty things that don't work become expensive regrets. When we needed a desk, part of me wanted a beautiful minimalist design made from real wood, something Instagram-worthy that would look stunning in this apartment. But that aesthetic desk wouldn't be practical for my actual work needs. We chose a less beautiful desk that adjusts for sitting or standing, fits my laptop plus monitor, plus keyboard comfortably, and actually makes my work easier and supports my health. It's not ugly, but it's definitely not the most beautiful desk I've ever seen. A woman bought a gorgeous designer dining chair, aesthetically perfect for her space. After 2 dinner parties, she realized it was incredibly uncomfortable. Guests avoided sitting in it. It looked beautiful but failed its primary function. She replaced it with a less attractive but comfortable chair that people actually wanted to use. Items you actually use daily develop their own kind of beauty. The beauty of function, of serving your life well. Practicality is the foundation of lasting satisfaction, not decoration. Truth 4. The less meh, more yay filter. A tea merchant in an ancient marketplace sold his product at a medium temperature, neither hot enough to warm customers on cold days, nor cold enough to refresh them in summer heat. Every customer left feeling vaguely disappointed, never quite satisfied. Meanwhile, his competitor sold tea definitively hot or definitively cold. Customers knew exactly what they were getting and left delighted by the clarity. The lukewarm merchant eventually went bankrupt because mediocrity satisfies nobody. Your money, time, and energy are finite resources. Every time you say yes to something mediocre, you're simultaneously saying no to something that could bring genuine joy. This is why the meh versus yay filter matters so much. Mediocre purchases clutter your life with disappointment. That shirt you bought, thinking, maybe I'll wear this, you definitely won't. The kitchen appliance that seemed cool but is a hassle to clean and devours counter space. These may become burdens within weeks. Minimalism isn't about never buying anything. It's about only buying absolute yays, things that create genuine excitement, clear purpose, unmistakable value. But here's where it gets tricky. Sometimes initial yay feelings are actually meh in disguise. That fancy espresso machine looks amazing in the store. Yay. But after owning it, you discover cleaning takes 15 minutes daily, and it occupies half your counter. The excitement transforms into resentment. It was meh, wearing a yay costume. Here's the reality nobody wants to hear. Most things we buy are lukewarm, maybes pretending to be definite yeses. Before purchasing, honestly rate your gut feeling. Is this genuine excitement, or are you rationalizing yourself into it? Well, it's a good price, isn't excitement. I might need this eventually, isn't certainty. It's not perfect, but is meh wrapped in justification. Real yay feels obvious, unmistakable, requiring zero convincing. A couple bought an expensive espresso machine that initially seemed perfect. Finally, cafe-quality coffee at home. 3 months later, they dreaded the elaborate cleaning ritual, the counter space it consumed, the maintenance it demanded. They sold it and bought a simple French press instead. Made coffee in 2 minutes, cleaned in 30 seconds, and took minimal space. The French press was the real yay disguised as simple. The espresso machine was meh disguised as sophisticated. Life is too short for lukewarm purchases. Choose definitive hot or cold. Never settle for disappointing medium temperature just because it's available. Truth 5. The Holy Grail Myth Destroyer. An old traveler spent his entire life searching for the fountain of eternal youth. He bought maps from countless merchants, each promising their fountain was the authentic one. He'd arrive at each location with desperate hope, drink the water, and wait for the transformation that never came. Disappointed but undeterred, he'd buy another map, convinced the next fountain would be different. He died old and broke, having spent his fortune and lifetime chasing a myth that kept him perpetually searching, never satisfied. This is exactly how modern advertising operates. No serum will fix all your skin concerns. No magic pair of jeans will fit your body perfectly forever. No planner will make you organized if your habits are chaotic. But companies understand our deepest hopes and exploit them brilliantly. They're not selling products. They're selling dreams. Dreams that if we just bought this one thing, we'd finally feel stylish, confident, organized, or happy. When products inevitably fail to deliver the promised transformation, we don't blame the advertising. We blame ourselves. It must be my skin type. Maybe I'm using it wrong. Perhaps I need the matching shampoo to make this conditioner work. The cycle repeats endlessly, keeping us trapped in consumption, while the real problem, unrealistic expectations sold as achievable outcomes, goes unaddressed. Here's the reality nobody wants to hear. Perfect products are myths designed to keep you shopping forever. I used to chase holy grails constantly. Spent $3,000 over 5 years searching for perfect skincare. Every bottle promised transformation, magazine-worthy skin, and confidence in my appearance. None delivered. What actually improved my skin? Sleeping 8 hours, drinking water, and accepting my face as good enough. Habits changed everything. Products changed nothing. A woman bought 7 different planners over 2 years, convinced each was finally the one that would make her organized and productive. Spent over $400. Remain disorganized because planners can't fix procrastination habits and unclear priorities. When she addressed the actual problems, her habits, not her tools, a $5 notebook worked perfectly. Stop chasing perfect products and start building realistic expectations plus solid habits. The contentment you're seeking won't arrive in a package. It comes from accepting what you already have as enough. Truth 6, the deserve better revelation. A hardworking merchant toiled all week in the marketplace, exhausted from dawn to dusk labor. Every evening he told himself, "I deserve a reward for working so hard," and bought elaborate feasts he couldn't afford. Within months, he'd gained weight, depleted his savings, and felt worse despite constant treating himself. A wise craftsman also worked grueling weeks but rewarded himself differently, with rest, walks by the river, time with family. He stayed healthy, built savings, and felt genuinely restored. We've all heard it 1,000 times. You deserve it. Companies weaponize this phrase brilliantly. Work hard, deserve to treat yourself by shopping. Stressed, deserve retail therapy. Happy, deserve celebration purchases. But let's be honest about what we're actually deserving ourselves into. Do I deserve to have zero savings because I spent everything? Do I deserve a closet so overflowing I can't close the doors? Do I deserve to live in clutter that takes hours to clean? Do I deserve financial stress from buying things with money I don't actually have? When you frame it honestly, treating yourself through purchases starts looking less like self-care and more like self-sabotage. Here's the reality nobody wants to hear. Real self-care isn't consuming, it's nurturing. What we actually deserve is rest when exhausted. Peace of mind instead of financial anxiety. Walking into our homes and feeling good instead of overwhelmed. These are genuine treats. Buying unnecessary things with money we don't have to store and maintain in spaces already cluttered doesn't feel like kindness anymore. It feels like punishment disguised as reward. True self-care means taking a slow morning when you wake up tired, going for a walk when the weather turns beautiful, doing extra yoga before bed. Yes, sometimes treats involve purchases, and that's absolutely fine. But this shift in thinking makes me infinitely more intentional, rather than reflexively reaching for my wallet every time I feel an emotion. A woman received a promotion and immediately felt imposter syndrome and insecurity about her new role. Her instant response? Buying $1,200 in work outfits to feel better about internal inadequacy. The clothes changed nothing about her confidence. Studies prove retail therapy links directly to insecurity and not measuring up feelings. We buy to compensate for what we feel is lacking, but purchases never actually solve internal struggles. Deserve peace, not purchases. Deserve nurturing, not consuming. Deserve freedom from clutter and debt, not temporary dopamine hits. Truth 7. The perfectly imperfect freedom. A queen built a palace entirely of polished mirrors, walls, ceilings, floors, all reflecting perfect images. She spent entire days maintaining flawless surfaces, panicking over every tiny smudge or fingerprint. Meanwhile, a peasant woman had one cracked mirror that she barely noticed. The queen watched through her perfect mirrors and envied the peasant's complete peace, despite having an imperfect, damaged reflection. Perfection had become the queen's prison. Social media shows us carefully curated perfection constantly. Flawless skin, aesthetic homes with matching containers, perfect morning routines, immaculate closets. These influencers aren't just sharing their lives, they're selling them. Every perfect image comes with links to buy the products that will supposedly bring you closer to that unattainable standard. What this does, even when you're not consciously aware, is create a persistent feeling that your imperfect reality isn't good enough. Your functional pantry suddenly feels inadequate because Instagram showed you one with color-coordinated labels. Your comfortable home feels lacking because Pinterest displays minimalist perfection. Social media generates endless feeds of things you didn't even know you were supposed to want until seeing them. Now you feel like you need them to measure up. Here's the reality nobody wants to hear. Shopping from insecurity never fixes the insecurity. It just makes you broke and still insecure. Shopping because you feel not enough is incredibly common. I did it constantly. Got promoted, felt imposter syndrome, immediately bought expensive work clothes, hoping they'd create confidence they couldn't possibly provide. Research confirms retail therapy connects directly to feelings of inadequacy and not measuring up. We buy things to compensate for what we perceive as lacking, but external purchases cannot fix internal emptiness. Through minimalism, I found genuine confidence by understanding my life doesn't need to be perfect or look perfect. There's nothing I need to live up to because it's already good enough exactly as it is. The more confident I became, the less I wanted to shop. That correlation isn't a coincidence. It's causation. A woman decluttered and organized her pantry functionally. It worked perfectly until she saw Instagram's matching container perfection. Suddenly, her functional system felt inadequate, despite changing nothing. The comparison created a problem that didn't exist before viewing manufactured perfection. Inner confidence isn't about achieving perfection. It's about accepting imperfection as enough and releasing yourself from comparison traps that only exist to sell you solutions to problems you don't actually have. 7 minimalist truths. Not rigid rules demanding perfection, just gentle guidelines that shift how you think about buying, owning, and what actually creates peace in your life. Remember the woman spending $4,200 yearly chasing transformation through purchases, still stressed, cluttered, broke? The woman who stopped buying solutions and started questioning wants found immediate peace. The difference wasn't income or willpower, it was understanding these 7 truths. This week, pick one truth to practice completely. Easiest start, less meh, more yay. Filter stops mediocre purchases before they happen. Biggest impact, linen pants illusion ends the transformation chasing cycle. Most freeing, perfectly imperfect releases you from comparison traps. Comment on which truth hit hardest and why. Share your most disappointing holy grail. Purchase that promised everything and delivered nothing. Tag someone trapped in the deserve it shopping cycle. Subscribe to Minimalism, creating peace without perfection. Next video, how decluttering 3,000 items actually changed my brain chemistry and anxiety levels. You don't need perfect, you need enough. You don't need more, you need intentional. These 7 truths prove it. Start today. Feel lighter tomorrow. Thank your future self forever.